Okay. All right. I just don't want to miss this good stuff.
Okay, so which one of these three do you like the best?
Okay,
everybody?
now read the new ones. Now read the new ones with the change, and then we'll all vote.
Okay, first one, 5 easy steps to be an influential conservative activist. Number 2, 7 secrets to creating conservative change. Number 3, 7 steps to save our constitutional freedoms.
Perfect. All right, so everybody vote. Do you want the first one? Say the first one again. We'll get the vote.
5 easy steps to be an influential conservative activist.
Okay, nobody there.
7 secrets to creating conservative change.
Okay, one there. Wait, go. You have to raise your hand. 1, 2.
And then the last one, 7 steps to save our constitutional freedoms.
So there's a tie.
I like the third one best.
Okay,
If I
then,
vote myself, I like the third one best, knowing what I know, what I would be teaching in the speech.
okay, then use that one because I think that gives you more flexibility, and we all want freedom. We all do. Other people in other countries want it. So I think that's a winner. Now, ladies,
And just a second, while we're on it, the way I introduce people, I say, you have health insurance, right? Homeowner's car. Do you have insurance for freedom? And that stops everybody and they go, wow, what are you talking about? And then I lead into my speech.
well, that may or may not be a good way to start it. We'll talk about that next.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now she's got 2 really good titles there. So here's what you do. You keep them, right? Evelyn had a couple of good titles because when you tell people on the phone, when you talk to them and they say, well, what's the title of your speech? And you say, blah, 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 freedom, they might go, nah, that sounds too political. Then you could go, okay, how about this one? How about change? It could be the same bloody talk, but people like different titles for their organization. So always have at least 2. Sometimes what I do is I have 2 signature talks. I have one for business, which is speak up, get clients, but then I have your message matters for on a more emotional level. So the women's groups like a more emotional one, and the men and women groups like the, let me just get those clients. So you always want a couple anyway. Okay. All right. Very good, Anita. Very good. All right. Let's go back up.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome. Very good. Let's go back up to Sherry. Okay, Sherry, what did you come up with?
Well, I came up with your book can talk.
Oh, I like that.
How you can be heard. Speak your book.
I like that.
Or speak your mind. Tell the world.
No, I don't like that one. Doesn't have anything to do with the book. Now let's go back to the first one again, where you said your book can talk. I love that. What does that say? Do it again. Say it again.
Your book can talk.
Your book can talk.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if we said how to get your book to talk? How to get your book
heard, speak your book.
How to get your book to talk. Right? And then the other one was speak your book. How to speak your book? How to what?
How you can be heard. Speak your book.
How you can be heard. Speak your book. Not sure about that one. It's clever, but how about this? Speak up and be heard. No, speak your book and be heard.
Oh, how about this? Multiply your sales by 10 with a talking book.
No, too analytical there. Too not analytical. Yeah, we want to stay to the heart for Sherry. But you're on the right track. How to create more sales. Speak your book, create more sales. Keep it simple, Anita. Keep it. You got the right ideas, just too many words. Yeah.
So what did you say? Say it again. Say it again.
I said the same thing as you in less words. What did I say? Speak your book, make more money.
Okay, thanks.
Make more money, speak your book. I don't know, something like that. I don't know what I exactly said, but
So you believe I should I should mention money. in the
No,
title.
I'm saying you
Oh.
could.
I
and then-
really, that's not really where I am.
That's-
I mean, I want to
that's
make
not-
money and I want people to make money, but the more important thing is the message.
And, okay, so,
Whether it's a how-to or whether it's a heartfelt book or it's a Christian thing, whatever it is, I think the message is more important. The money will come.
fine, that's fine, but what's important and I think's missing a little bit is that you're talking about speaking a book.
Yes.
And because you want to talk about, if it was me, I would say the benefits of speaking your book. Because now I know what I'm going to get. And then I could set up that speech so that it leads to me speaking their book for them. Like all the benefits of speaking your book. Then I could talk about money. I could talk about getting your message heard. I could talk about getting it to the world, making an impact. And then what's stopping you? What stops most people is they don't like the sound of their voice. That's where I come in.
Yay.
So that's why I think ahead. I'm just know where we're going. So I'm thinking ahead. And again, it's all about selling your services. Right? It's really not about them making money. They can make money on Audible and all that, but it's really about reaching thousands of people. So even if you said something like how to reach thousands of people with one voice, but still now I'm thinking you're talking about public speaking and not writing. I just went to a program, a webinar, because it said how to get your book on Audible, or how to speak your audio book or something. It was so clear that that's exactly what I wanted to know. How do I speak my book? So it's great to come up with sexy, clever titles, but if they don't get people in the seats, or if they're there on the wrong pretense, then it's costing you time and money because you're trying to build this as a business. So sometimes we just have to, be real clear at what it is that we're trying to talk about.
Okay, so none of those really work.
Well, they can be tweaked.
Yeah, right.
I just think it's really important to talk about, getting your book on an audio book, because that's really what you're doing. You're not, see, you could be confused with Malcolm or me if you say how to get your message heard. Because now I think, are you going to talk about public speaking? Are you going to talk about Facebook Live or video or film? Right? If you said reach millions of people by itself, I think, is it video? But when you're very clear how to speak your book, how to speak your book as an audio book, or how to get your book on Audible, then I'm like, bing, that's what I want to do as an author. That's my next step. Or 5 reasons that I should be on, that I should have turn my book into an audio book. Now I'm like, ooh. Okay. Now there's other authors here. Evelyn, you're an author. What do you think? Do you want your book on Audible? That would be the next step for your book.
Yeah, I had been thinking about it. Yeah.
It's the next thing. It's that we didn't used to have a step like that as an author years ago. And now we do, and it's hotter than snot. Some people are skipping the writing and they're going right to Audible books.
Right, because they can listen to it in their car or while they're walking.
Well, the benefits to the listener are a whole other set of benefits.
Yeah.
All right. But
And I'm an author. I've written 2 books and I see the value of an Audible book.
yeah, but if she said get your message heard, you're not going to know that that's all about it. Audible. That's my point here.
Yeah, she has to put Audible in the title.
Yeah.
Something
Right,
about
in the title.
Yeah, don't try to be too fancy sometimes with our titles because, even with a book title, if people aren't going to get it, they won't read it and they won't buy it and read it. We want people to read it. So save the creativeness for inside your speech.
Okay.
Okay, keep working on that. All right, we're coming back to Evelyn.
Okay, I came up with several titles.
Okay,
How to clean up your clutter. 3
now,
productivity.
wait a minute. Now that's good and simple. How to clean up your clutter. That's it, Evelyn? Okay, keep
Yeah.
going. That's
Okay,
good.
I had 3 productivity tips you can't live without. How to get
No,
more
that's
done.
not about clutter.
Okay, how to get more done in less time.
No, now you're talking productivity.
Okay.
Now now I'm a corporation. If you're speaking to corporations, fine, but it's not about my clutter. It's just about me working smarter, not harder.
Right.
Whatever that means.
How to have a neat mess.
How to what?
How to have
Nope.
a neat mess. No.
How to what now?
Have a neat mess.
No.
Okay. Let's
Look
see.
at Malcolm. He's right there going, no. Keep going.
Did I say how to get the most out of your day?
Now you're
That's
talking
time
about
management.
time management.
Oh, okay. So that's out.
See how that works, Sherry? That's exactly what I was talking about for you, right? She wants to talk about clutter, and she in her mind knows that, hey, if you have a neater mess, that you could get more done, but we don't know it yet. So it's time management. I'm going to show up expecting a talk on time management and calendars, and I'm going to get clutter talk,
Mhm.
right? So I'm not going to like it. And the clutter people won't even go because they don't have time to think about time management. They can't even find their calendar.
That's why they have trouble with time man. How to get more done in less time?
No, forget that.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Not unless you're going to talk about time management. Is my
Yeah, okay. The other one was the 3 productivity tips you can't live without.
Forget the productivity.
Okay,
Keep to the clutter conversation.
okay.
Like
3
how to
clutter-
like the first one's good, or that's the C word I was looking for. It could be how to turn your chaos into clean.
Well, I put how to turn chaos into an organized lifestyle. Is
No.
that too much?
Let's go to the first one.
Okay.
That was your best one.
How to clean up your clutter.
How to clean up your clutter.
Okay.
Now I know what I'm going to get. That's exactly what I want. How many of you like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's the winner. Everybody said yes.
All right, thank you.
How to clean up your clutter. That's simple, direct, and it's exactly what you talk about. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so Anita's done, Malcolm's done, Evelyn's done, and we're just back to Sherry.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I changed some of this a little bit. Let's hear your book with Audible. Voice your opinion through an Audible book. Speak up with Audible.
What was the last one?
Speak up with Audible book. Well, it's actually Speak Up with Your Audible book.
That's better. That's better. That's the one. Speak up with your Audible. I would put a how-to in there. How to speak up with your audio book. I'd put a how-to because I want to know how to do something. Okay. That's the best one so far.
Okay.
All right, good. All right, so say it one more time and we'll all vote.
Okay. Let's hear your book with Audible. How to speak up with your Audible book. Voice your opinion. Speak with Audible books.
Number 2. Malcolm, number 2.
I
No,
would change how to 5 steps or something.
Okay, go ahead, Malcolm. What?
I don't like any of them because of the word audible.
Audible or audio book?
No, audio book is different than audible.
Correct.
Audible brings up I think it brings up an extra legal issue too that you might want to think about?
No, Audible, the company Audible is
Mhm.
with an I. When you're talking about an audible book, it's something that's able to be expressed with sound. So there's no legal implication there. But you're right. We could say audio book instead of an
Let's
audible.
say audio book.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's say audio book. Yeah. That might clean it up too, because then it could be,
Yeah, no, I know what he's saying because
Yeah.
there is a company called Audible. In fact,
Yeah.
people think that that's
what
That-
do you think?
that-
it's such a branding that they don't really.
It would, yeah, it's the brand, it's their branding. They've got it so, plastered in people's minds that you've got a point. You've got a point, definitely. And if you went to court, that's a very legal point, that you're making. But then,
Save some trouble, right?
right.
Yeah, avoid it. Yeah, say audio book. I like that better. Okay, so say it again and let's all vote.
Okay, all three again?
No, just that last one that you're gonna fix.
Oh, okay. How to speak up with your audio book.
Yes. Is that better, Malcolm?
Yeah.
Now, that was number 2. Everybody liked number 2. Okay. So that's the one to go with. I think that's the best, Sherry, because then people really know what you're doing. And you can talk about all the benefits of having one and how to do it and then make it so complex. People go, I need to hire you. Okay. That's really what you want to lead them to as a natural sale. We all do, right?
Oh, yes.
People can't clean up their clutter without Evelyn, or they would already have done it. Right? So people need you, all of you. Okay,
Thank
let's-
you. Thank you, everybody.
welcome. So now put that in the chat. All of you put yours. I have Malcolm's in the chat. So so the rest of you put yours so we can reference it. Because we're going to reuse this now 3 or 4 times in our speech to dangle the carrot in front of our audience. So they can't wait to hear what you are going to share with them. All right, so now what we're going to do real quick, we're going to create a purpose statement. A purpose statement. All right, so I'm going to turn on my machine. Turn on my machine and do a share. All right. Okay, everybody can see that. Purpose for speaking. Purpose for speaking. All right. Okay, now, when we speak, now this part is one of the differences between what I teach and what other people teach. Most, not good or bad, just different. Most people don't even talk about, well, what is your purpose really? Think of it as an intention. What is your intention? Do you know that when you set intentions, you can get better results? Now, we know that somewhere intellectually, but are we doing it? Are we doing it? I want to give you an example. Yesterday, I went to a women's event, a breakfast. And my intention was to get a client. And I'm driving there and I said, I'm going to take 10 minutes and set my intentions. And I did. I said, I'm going to meet some really great people. I'm going to this. I'm going to be full energy, full on. I'm going to be a magnet. I'm going to be attracting people, all this great stuff, which happened. But I also said, I am going to attract a client. I barely get in the door and the chair of the organization grabs me, takes me over to this guy who is looking for a public speaking trainer. Now, the woman that was speaking is one of my competitors talking about public speaking to get clients, right? But he picked me because I set the intention. I'm convinced. Big corporate client. I set the intention. I couldn't believe it. I was so overjoyed. First thing I did is call my mentor who told me set intentions, right? So for speaking, and I've always set intentions for speaking, but I don't always set them for when I go to a networking group. I just go to a networking group. But most speakers don't set intentions for their speech. They just give the speech. Okay, I just want to make sure we're recording. I hope we are. All right. So what do you think the reasons for speaking are? Just think about reasons, right? Why people speak in the first place. So they speak what? They speak to inform, right? That's what so many business speakers speak about. I'm just going to inform. Now, do you think inform sells at the end of your speech?
No.
No, it really doesn't, right? A lot of them teach or they educate, right? Now, do you think educating sells?
Yeah.
As long as you don't overeducate. True. All right. Inspiration is another one. Do you think inspiration sells?
Oh, sure it does.
Yes.
It might inspire them to move to a little bit closer to action. Yes. All right. What about motivate?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
That might move them a little closer as well. What about entertain?
Oh, absolutely. People retain more when you entertain.
Not always. We got to be careful of this one,
Well,
right? Now, funny equals money, and we can tell funny stories, but if we're totally an entertainer, your message could get lost in the fun, right? So we have to be careful of that one. But this last one is the big one. This is the one that sells,
Yes.
right? That's the one that sells with the intention that you want to persuade somebody to take the next step with you. You want to you want to persuade your audience that your book is so important, it needs to reach millions of people through audible or audiobooks, right? Your information is so important that you want to persuade people to clean up their mess because you know, Evelyn, that creates a healthier life and a healthier business. You already know it. They don't know it or they wouldn't be living in chaos. So we can deliver this one as a primary intention, and you can use any of these to help deliver it, but it can't be the main purpose. And so many business speeches, this one is the main purpose. So your purpose or your intention is to persuade, and you can use motivation to do it. You can use education to do it. You can even, Evelyn, entertain them and persuade them by entertaining, but it can't be your number one intention. Now, if you're a motivational speaker and you're already paid $10,000 per talk and you're not selling anything at the end, then yeah, your number one motivation will be to motivate or to entertain. Are you getting it? See the diff? All right. So that's our main purpose for speaking. Now, when we put this formula together, now that we have our main purpose, and we are on page 8. We're on page 8. All right. So when we do our purpose and we say, okay, our purpose is to persuade, right? Persuade who? Well, we've got to persuade our audience. Now, who's our audience? This is where you plug in who your audience is. All right. Evelyn's messy people, hoarders, whatever your audience you think you're going to be, whatever your main target market that you want to speak to. And Sherry, yours are authors, right? Yours are people that have books, obviously. It doesn't have to be, though. You can, in your talk about how you can speak somebody's ideas without it being a written book, but ideally audiobooks are written books. but I know a few people that are skipping the writing and going right to the book, but they're well-developed speakers. They're not beginners. Okay, so what is the next step? So what is your audience? Okay, and Malcolm, who's your audience?
For the so public speakers.
Public speakers or people who want to speak? Are they beginners or are they?
Oh, no, people who, that's interesting.
Because your title is the #1 secret to speak like a pro. If
Right.
I'm already speaking, I might already think I'm a pro and not go.
Exactly. So
is it for aspiring speakers or veteran speakers?
I'm gonna make it easy, just say aspiring.
Yeah, just and think about that one a little bit. And again, you can just say it's for speakers right now who want to be better speakers. You can even do that. Okay, so the next step is the value. That's what you bring. Guess what goes into the value slot? The title of your talk, because that's the benefit and the value. So if I was to read this, I would say, let me just say what Evelyn's is. Let me call up the chat so I can see some of yours. Okay. All right. So my intention, right, my purpose of giving this talk would be to persuade messy people, I'm just making it up, messy people on how to clean up their clutter, right? So my intention is to persuade the messy people of the world or the
Chronically disorganized.
right, or the chronically disorganized how to clean up their clutter. All right, it's that simple. So the title is what typically goes here, or a paraphrase of the title, right? This is your target, your audience that you're going to speak to. Now, the next step in this is the action, and that's what we're going to talk about now, and then we'll take a little break. But the action is, what do you want them to do? Guess what our action is, ladies and gentlemen? It's our close. All right, it's our close. We have to decide. Think of it this way. It's your destination.
That's good.
It's your destination. We've got the GPS, we plugged it in, that's our title, right? But where is the ultimate destination? Someone's house, a business, a company, what is our ultimate destination? So this is, what is it that we want? Where is it that we want to go? Where do we want to take our audience? So as far as our closes, now we have several different closes. They are on page 9. They are on page 9. We've got our business raffle right now. In the virtual world, we can still do a raffle. I will show you how to do that tomorrow. This is where you give something away and you collect business cards. Easy peasy, or collect email addresses. So that's still, all of these can work, both virtual and on stage. It's just what we say is different. A strategy session, right? Whatever you call yours, strategy, discovery, assessment, consultation, be clever, right? Whatever, strategy, that's like usually what, a 30-minute free session, right? Or we can just do a Q&A, or what I call inspiration close. each one of these closes is different for how much time you have on stage. If I only have 5 minutes, I don't have time for the first 2. I have time for 3, but I don't have time to collect cards or do strategy sessions. So we'll talk more about that. Number 4 is a combo of 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, or 3.
Move your page up.
Okay.
Can't see combo.
Oop. Oh, you know what I can do? Sorry, I can move my little guy up too. All right, there. Combo.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, number 5 is, of course, if you're going to sell something, product, service, event. The longer time you have, the more you can sell. If you only have 5-10 minutes, that's not an option. Now, and of course, 6 that's in your book, which doesn't fit any of you here, so we're not going to go into detail, but that's if you are going to raise funds, a fundraiser from the stage. So we're just going to stick with one of these. Now, we are creating a 30-minute talk this weekend. That's the average time of a signature talk. Sometimes you're going to have 45 minutes. Sometimes you're going to have 20 minutes. Sometimes you're only going to have 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 5 minutes. But most of the time, you're going to get a good 20, 25, 30 minutes, especially live.
Arvee, I have a question. When a speaker is given a fixed amount of time in a program, let's say 30 minutes, should I intentionally allow a small percentage of that for Q&A?
No. Q&A, ladies and gentlemen, is an old model. We don't use, it's like the 50s. We don't use it. Public speaking has changed over the years. If someone tells you you've got 30 minutes and 15 minutes for Q&A, how much time do you have to speak?
15.
45 minutes. Because you're not going to do a Q&A. You're going to say, thank you very much. Because it's better for you to love on your audience and get them to love on you through giving them valuable content than to have a Q&A where some bozo in the audience is going to demonstrate their brilliance and take your speech sideways and make you look like a fool.
That happened to me once.
Amen. It happens to everyone, right, Malcolm? Don't let that happen. Don't set yourself up. You talk. You share your brilliance. It's your stage. Don't give it away. Don't.
Okay,
Unless. Now, there's options to this, always. If you're in your own room, you can do anything you want. Like, this is my own room. I could take questions. But I'm talking about when you have a set amount of time and you're a guest in somebody else's room. Don't give your power away to anybody else. I'm going to share with you ahead of time. This is what I'm going to share tomorrow. But here's how you handle a Q&A, just because we're talking about it now. I know you have a lot of questions, and I want to answer them. So come and see me after the talk. I'm going to be standing right here. Come and see me and ask me any question you want. Now, people think they've had a Q&A because all they wanted was permission, and anybody interested will come up and talk to you. But the yahoos that were going to steal your time, there's no fun in that. So they're not even going to bother you. Case, problem solved.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll talk more about exactly how to do that tomorrow when we do the close.
Monday night, I'm given 15 minutes after the 2 speakers spend 45 minutes. And I've just learned from you to not reserve any time for yahoos to eat up my 15 minutes, but rather come to me to the back of the room. Got it.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes. And I'm so glad you're taking this class than you have right now, and because you're going to be ready Monday morning.
Yeah.
You're going to be
I'm going to be rehearsing Monday. It's my hang the shingle out day.
good. Yeah, we're all there. We're all there behind you, supporting you, Anita. Awesome. Good. I'm so excited.
I'm glad this is this weekend instead of next weekend.
Yes, me too. Me too. All right. So what we're building is that 30-minute. So just to keep that in mind when you're selecting your clothes. Now, we still wouldn't recommend a sale close yet unless you're really confident at selling from the platform. Sometimes it's better just to get people in on a strategy session where you can sell to them one-on-one. So your job now, pick one of them, or you can pick a combo. So 1 through 5, you select one of them, and that's what you're going to put in your purpose statement that we've been building. So let me go back to the screen share. So you're just going to get a few minutes to do that. All right. So whatever your close is, that's the action right here. So whatever number you choose, what we're doing is right there. Okay. Now you're going to write that down on page 9. Right? You're going to write that on page 9. We're on page 9. So you're going to write out your purpose statement here. And or you can type it in directly into your template. Whatever you're comfortable with. We just need to get it out of your head, off of the scratch paper, and into something permanently. All right, then we'll go around the room. Okay, so let me give you 5 minutes on the clock for that. Okay, 5 minutes on the clock. Holler if you need anything. I'm just going to run to the restroom.
I didn't ask for that.
That red looks good on you, Malcolm.
Thank you.
Of course, I'm prejudiced. I love red. Is it cold where you are in San Francisco?
No, it's not. It's just me. I'm not feeling very well today. So
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm a little chilly.
Hmm.
Got the chills.
Hmm. Well, it kind of looks overcast from behind you, but I know that's virtual.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's see how much time you have left. Okay, another minute. It shouldn't take too long. You've done all the other work. Just plug and play and type it or write it, and we'll move on. We'll go to about 12:30 and then we'll take a little lunch break. All right. We're just like building that car right now, but we're going to take off. And everyone should be just about finished. We're going to go around the room, and all I need to know right now is the close. We know your title, we know your target with the close. Okay, when we're ready, and you have like a little less than a minute. Up, there we go. There we go. Okay. One thing when you wear gloves, the phone doesn't recognize the gloves. All right, so we're going to go around the room. So Sherry, what is your close going to be?
My close is a combination of number 1 and number 2.
Perfect. All right, Evelyn, what's your close? Your action.
Well, the free number 2.
Okay, number 2, a free strategy session. Good.
Yeah.
That's a good one for you. Yeah, Malcolm.
Number 5. Number
Number
5.
5, good. You're going to sell. What are you going to sell?
I'm gonna sell my course, which is called Speak Out and Stand Out.
Okay, how much is that?
Excuse me, $4.97.
Perfect. That's a good price. Anything more in 30 minutes would be a challenge. Okay. Not for everybody, but you know, it's good. Okay, perfect. All right. Nita.
The group that I'm going to be talking to Monday night, just to stay focused, is
Yeah, stay focused.
I'm inviting everybody to join me on my weekly mastermind calls on Wednesday mornings at 10.
Perfect. So is that free?
Yes, this is my beta group. They're my baby lab rats. So to speak.
Okay.
I'm learning from what I'm doing last month and this month how to structure my fee-based one in August.
Okay. Great. And let me know if you need some help with that. I can help you with that.
I would appreciate that, and thank you.
Okay, great. So good job, everyone. Now what we're going to do is we are going to start structuring. Now we're ready to structure the actual speech. You see, it's kind of like we had to build the car first. Pick the lane, pick the car, do a little building. Now we're ready. So when we build our speech, what we are in essence building is a sandwich. I know it may not look quite like a sandwich, but it is a sandwich. All right. And so God gave me a lot of gifts, but not art. So
Are we on page 10, Arvee?
We are on page 10 and we're getting ready to go into page 11. Very good. So what we are doing is we are creating this sandwich and we are putting in the meat and we are putting in the tomato and all of the good stuff that goes inside of the sandwich. But before we can get ready for the sandwich, we need to what? We need to build rapport. We need to build rapport with our audience. And then the bottom piece is the close. So now when we take a look at the sandwich, it's kind of like if we had both our hands up and we're building that sandwich, right? We're building a 30-minute speech. The beauty of my system here is that when you have a 40-minute speech, whoop, we raise and add more meat. If you have a 10-minute speech, we go whoop and cut out some of the meat so that the beginning rapport and the close can stay relatively the same. So think about it this way. When I was a little girl, my mom used to give me, my brother, I have a twin brother, he's 6'4". I'm only 5 foot, but he's 6. But I look bigger on Zoom, don't I? And I had to go to a live event yesterday. It was like, oh my God, everybody's a giant. But my mom would make us bologna sandwiches. She would use Wonder Bread, Miracle Whip, and put one piece of Oscar Mayer bologna in it. Can anybody relate to this? It's a wonder I'm alive.
No kidding.
But
White bread.
Yeah, white bread. But the point being is that I didn't know the difference, but I would have noticed if there was no meat. She only had one piece of meat, but that was okay. There was meat in it. So when we deliver a speech, even though it's 5 minutes, we have to deliver at least one piece of meat, or your audience will come away, what, hungry, empty, not getting anything, and very disappointed. So we can raise it and add more meat that's appropriate for our time and lower it, but we stay true to the system. There's 5 steps to rapport, like your top hand, woo, 5 steps to the close. If we don't have the close, if we try to say, well, we don't have time for the close because we only have 5 minutes, poof, guess what happens to your sandwich? It falls apart. And yet at the same time, if we said, I don't have time to build rapport, no rapport, how in the hell does your audience eat that sandwich? They can't. So what gives, ladies and gentlemen, is the meat, because they will not notice a little less meat. Got it? When I say got it, you say got it, I say good. Got it?
Got it.
Good.
Got it.
So we're right at the top of rapport. And the first step at rapport, and it's in your book, I'm writing it down, but the first step is attention. Yes. And or in your book on page 9, you got it. So we want to start with an attention grabber. So like what Anita, you shared a little bit earlier, wasn't quite grabbing. We can use that later, but we have three seconds to grab your audience's attention before they decide whether or not they're going to listen to you. They've decided and judged. Yes, people judge. We all judge. You do it too. Whether or not you know what you're talking about, whether or not you're an expert, whether or not there's some connection. I mean, 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, boom. So we need to come out as powerfully as we can, even if our knees are knocking, and our voice is shaking. We got to come out there, the game on, right? It's showtime. Remember that old movie, right? You're too young, Malcolm, but that movie, what was it? It's showtime. What was that movie? Some musical. I don't even remember. You know it, Sherry. What was that? That guy that always came out and went, showtime. You don't remember? We'll think of it. You'll tell me tomorrow.
I remember by the end of the day.
Yeah. So we want to give it everything we can in the first 3 seconds. And actually what that does is energize us as well. So let me give you some examples and ideas. What I have found work well over my years of 30 years of speaking and 20 of it training, that works well for business speakers and speakers that want to make money. Now, if you're a motivational speaker and you got paid for it, it really doesn't matter how the heck you start your speech. Got it? Because you already got your money. So you can do anything you want to do. But if we're business speakers and we're really trying to make a change and make a difference and make an impact and maybe make some money along the way, then it does make a difference, because we have to set ourselves up that we're absolutely the expert and build rapport with our audience. So 3 ways that I have found been most effective is 1, enrolling questions. Those are the questions where it enrolls the audience to participate. They're not new. Speakers have been using these for about 10 years now, about a decade. And that is that how many of you, they use them because it works. So how many of you, and you give it a benefit, how many of you would like to be and maybe like for Evelyn, that's where we can pull in some of your other words. How many of you would like to be more productive, right? We don't have to say how many of you want to be neat nicks. No, they don't, or they already would be neat nicks. But how many of you would like to be more productive? Then you ask a second question that builds on the first. How many of you not only want to be more productive, but you would like to make a ton of money doing it or whatever? So the key is there's 2 questions. They start with how many of you, and they build one on the other. What do you have there, Malcolm? I can't see it. Keeps disappearing. Is it a kitty or a dog? Beautiful. Wow, looks like a cougar or something. So they build on the other. Now, asking somebody a rhetorical question is not an enrolling question. And enrolling questions are unique because they get the mind to want to answer the question, and it gets the body to physically do something, both live and virtual. Don't miss that part. How many of you, right? I want to see a show of hands if no one's raising their hand, right? Get them physically involved. So that's one way. I use them all the time, constantly. Another way, though, and they're benefit driven, another way is statistical statements. This is really something that is a real high statistic. It's usually a pain point. 83.5% of all businesses go out of business in the first 3 years. Boom, right? 1 out of 10 people in this room will die of cancer. Boom. Right? So they're usually very negative. They draw on the pain. Medical industry, the health industry uses them a lot because they work. And again, they're negative. Now, if you are going to use them, make sure your statistic is current and true, because there might be some experts in your audience, and make them odd numbers. Don't even them up. So don't say 80% of all businesses go out of business in the first 3 years, because it's not as believable as 83.5%. So keep them odd, keep them, current. When I see somebody's slides and they say, medical studies 2010, I'm like, they ruin all their credibility. If they can't do any research from 2010 till now, then they're not current, and I'm not going to listen to them, and I can't believe them. And so, game over. So be careful. At least change your slides date if you can't find a more current statistic. All right. The third one, though, is one of my favorites, and that is a statement of declaration, which is your truth, which means you could say anything you want to say. So for instance, I could say something like, you have 10 seconds to grab your audience's attention. You have 3 seconds, you have 5. I can make anything up I wanted. I've had students that said things like, I'm tired of being a grunt, right? Or a guy that was talking on time management said, I'm late. Remember, these are supposed to get your audience's attention so you can really have fun with the statement of declaration. But it is only one statement, ideally. I mean, I'm late is really just still one statement. It's not 2 or 3 ideas. It's just one idea, right? To grab their attention. Real power.
Arvee?
Yeah.
Arvee?
Mhm.
I heard recently the statement, what is allowed continues.
Say that again.
What is allowed if we do nothing, if conservatives do nothing, what is allowed continues.
That could work. Absolutely. If you say it with power, absolutely. What is allowed, and then I would pause, continues. It's no different than who said it, Zig Ziglar or one of them said, what you resist persists. It's kind of like a
And
statement
one
like that.
best way for evil to continue is good people do nothing.
A little long. If you keep it, the shorter it is, the more powerful it becomes.
Okay.
Now, when you do use those, some not to use those, don't use somebody else's quote. Tony Robbins said that good isn't good enough. You have to be outstanding, meaning you have to stand up. Why? Because we're in rapport and we're thinking about Tony Robbins and not you. So if it is a quote, it's got to be your quote. Then it becomes a statement of declaration. You don't have to say this is a quote by me, right? I always say whatever you want is outside your comfort zone or you would already have it. I don't have to say by Arvee Robinson. I just said it. So you can quote yourself, and that's the statement of declarations I'm talking about.
Okay, I just figured out a way to modify that statement enough to make it mine. Thank you.
Yeah, make it yours. That's exactly what I mean. Good job. Yeah, make it yours and then deliver it with power. All right. So now we're going to take a few minutes. I want you to write yours out, whether it's questions, statistics, or your own statement. Now, if you get lost, just go again to your title. So let me just go to the title. So let me go to Sherry's for a minute. So if I wasn't sure, I'm going, what do I do? How to speak up? How to speak up with your audiobook? I might say, well, I know they're authors, so I would say something like, how many of you have a written book? How many of you not only have a written book, but you want to turn it into audio, right? So you can just take your title and modify it, right? How many of you are speakers? How many of you'd really like to speak like a pro? Boom. So see, this isn't difficult. It's not a difficult assignment. Or you could say, how many of you are speakers? How many of you want to be a better speaker? Simple. I would be raising my hand in a heartbeat. Yeah, who doesn't want to be a better whatever? Right? How many of you are organized? How many of you not only are organized, but you really would like to get better organized? So again, not hard, not difficult. Make it simple. Simple is best sometimes. Don't get too complicated. All right, 5 minutes for that, and let me set the timer and have fun. And then we'll go around the room, and then we're right spot on time, and then we'll take a lunch break. Okay, 5 minutes. All right, time is up. Did everybody get a chance to get theirs done? Okay, good. Let's go around the room. Let's start with Malcolm this time.
No, I'm just one more. Just-
Okay, one more minute. All right, Evelyn.
Okay, do you know that 97.3% of people spend up to 1 hour a day looking for stuff? Doesn't mean they find it, just means they're looking for it.
Okay, good. Let's cut it down a little bit.
Okay.
Take
there-
out the last part of it. Doesn't mean that they're,
yeah,
look.
Okay. Do you
And
know
then-
that? Okay,
And don't say you know, just come right out with a statistic.
okay. 97.3% of people spend up to 1 hour a day looking for stuff. Doesn't mean they find it, just means they're looking for it.
No, take off the bottom part, just
Oh.
looking for stuff.
So just say 97.3% of people spend up to 1 hour a day looking for stuff.
Period. Now, doesn't that, now say it one more time, and I want you all to listen, because isn't that more powerful? The more words you say, the less powerful your attention grabber is. So go ahead, do it again. Very good.
Okay, 97.3% of people spend up to 1 hour a day looking for stuff.
Beautiful. That's it.
Okay,
Got our attention. That's all it's supposed to do. It's not supposed to teach us, train us, or anything else except for getting our attention. That's a big statistic. Well done, Evelyn. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Looks like Sherry's ready.
Okay. I would like to come out with just the statement to get their attention.
Okay.
And it's, this world needs your words, your message.
Okay. This world needs your words, your message. Okay. Fine. Good. All
And then
right.
Then would it be okay then to start out with, how many of you have written a
No.
book? No.
You
don't do that.
You get
That's their
one.
statement.
You get one attention grabber.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's okay, because you're going to assume that there are people that have written a book or want to write a book or at least want to do Audible. But most of your audience is going to be authors. That's where you're going to get your business.
Okay.
Yeah, and so if you can find where they hang out, as opposed to just a general business audience where there might be 1 or 2 or 3 people that wrote a book, you're going to get more clients in less effort, right? Less time, and more strategy sessions. So we really want to try to go to a concentrated target market if we can. We won't turn down any speech, but we really want to go to try to target concentrated efforts. Because if Evelyn went to a convention of neatniks, right, she's not going to get any business for her talk. She needs to go to, hoarders and convention if they have such a thing.
actually, the majority of my clients are the ADHD community,
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
the
go.
creative sector.
Got it. Okay. All right. Let's go to Malcolm. You look like you're ready.
So I'm sorry, did you just want one or did you want 3?
Just one. But if you have 3 and you're not sure which one to use, then you can share all of them and we'll help you out.
Okay, so just one. When it comes to audience engagement, I've gone from 0 to hero, and you can too.
Okay. So we are that's a good one, but we're in rapport. When we're in rapport, it's not about us, it's about them. So how could you restructure that?
So now, just with that, because that sort of confuses things to me, for me. So
Okay.
with what you just said, so C, your example, C, make a statement of declaration. I'm late. I'm tired of being a grunt. That's about the speaker.
That's true, it is. But it doesn't, but if you think about it, it doesn't compliment the speaker. I'm late. That's not a compliment to the speaker.
Oh, okay.
I'm tired of being a grunt isn't a compliment. It's not saying I'm a hero.
Right.
The difference, it's subtle, but good point. I'm glad you brought that up. How could you do that though? What if you said, I sucked as a speaker? Then it would be like that. I was awful. I was awful. Then I got better, or something like that. You probably could do that. Yeah. So rearrange your hero speech to be something like that, and you could use it. Absolutely. Right? I sucked as a speaker. That'd get people's attention in the room. I'm not saying say that word. I wouldn't say it myself on stage, but that's the feeling that I was horrible. I deer in the headlights. Has that ever happened to you? And then you could continue.
Okay. Yeah.
What are the other ones? Share those with me. There might be some gold there.
53% of business speakers don't make a memorable impact.
Okay.
And the easiest one, of course, is how many of you are speakers and how many of you want to improve your audience engagement?
Okay. Yeah. Both of those would work. But yeah, work on your, I think the other one, the first one will be more fun if you get it. If you find how to do that without making it look like you're bragging on yourself, but that you're actually, see, it's okay in a speech for us to do self-deprecating remarks. We can't do them for our audience, but we can do them to ourselves. So like saying, I'm late. I was lousy. I stepped on stage and I messed up, I stepped on stage and I failed the first time. Don't let that happen to you. Today, I'm going to share with you how you can look like a pro. That'll work. Okay, Anita.
Okay. Of the different versions I wrote, what I hope is the best is, have you heard what our inactivity allows continues? Are you ready to be more active so we can stop what our enemies are doing?
Okay, so there's a question in there. So we have enrolling questions or no question.
Have you heard what inactivity allows continues? Are you ready to be more active? So the purpose of inactivity to active. Have you heard what our inactivity allows continues? Are you ready to be more active so we can stop what our enemies are, what is continuing?
Okay, so that's a good start. But we need to add how many of you, and the first one was really complex. I'm not so sure I would ever raise my hand. I wasn't quite maybe I'm not your target, but the second one made sense. How many of you are ready to get active? Remember your title. That's why I want you to keep it in front of you. It's about freedom. How many of you are ready to stand up for your own freedom? How many of you not only want to stand up for your own freedom, you want to change the world? I mean, come on, let's bring an impact. So you want this to be impactful where, if you get too complex, people aren't going to raise their hand. Your audience, Anita, is yes, you have a special audience, but they are people that are involved in politics and, they're sharp people, but they want freedom ultimately at the end of the day. They want to make a change. They want to be instrumental in that change.
Okay. So the reason what I worked on was how to change that comment, that short comment that I asked you just moments ago, what is allowed continues. That's not my quote. To make that my quote, I changed what our inactivity allows is what continues. How many of you are ready to stand
That's
up?
fine, but you need to stop right there for it to be an attention grabber. And I'm not sure it goes in line with the freedom title.
A question.
Okay, Malcolm and then Sherry.
I saw what you're doing, but the fact that you put it in a question was really confusing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Rid
are
of
you
the question.
saying that I should make that statement, what is allowed continues? Are you ready to stop?
No,
what's
no
been happening?
question. What inactivity continues or whatever your statement is, which I still think you need to kind of dummy it down a little bit. You know, what you
What's
persist,
allowed?
consist kind of thing. It works because it's a rhyme and because it's simple. So we need simple. But what Malcolm is saying, don't ask the question afterwards, because then that gets confusing. Just make your statement. Statement of declarations are only a statement.
So I thought when you said I should ask something about how many of you are ready to save your freedoms or something like that, where do I ask that
But
question
then
after I make the statement?
Okay, see, I think what you're doing is you're trying to combine the enrolling question with the statement of declaration. A enrolling question is a benefit-driven question. It's what they want. So by saying inactivity continues or whatever, that's not a benefit. That's not something somebody wants. That's a statement. So it has to be either or. Don't mush them together, because then, like Malcolm said, it's confusing. So either it's an enrolling question with a benefit. How many of you want freedom? You know, or how many of you want to stop the inactivity? You could say something like that, but it's got to be a benefit-driven question.
Okay.
Okay. Sherry had her hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment, if I didn't know more of what she had said before, when you say inactivity, my mind goes to, oh, is this a fitness class? Is inactivity
Good point.
going to tell me that? I think that you really need to have the word freedom in there or something, because the inactivity and any of those words she was saying didn't really mean anything to me if I look at it and I don't know anything about her previously. And
So then
also the mention of enemy, that just kind of threw up kind of a red flag to me. Enemy? You know, are we talking about enemies of the state, or are we talking about
Or the devil. Or the
Yeah.
devil.
Yeah, and I think that would tell me right away, I don't think I want to be in this crowd. You know, again,
This is good
I'm more
feedback.
prone
So how
to
could
go-
I include freedom? Thank you
Sweetheart.
for your suggestions, Sherry. Where should I
Anita.
include freedom in this?
Anita, you cannot try to mesh two things together. Let that quote of inactivity go. Put it in your speech somewhere. Let it go and just come up with a simple question. Yeah, don't, you're so smart,
Yeah,
and we can let all our brilliance come out in the body of the talk, but in the beginning, let's just keep it simple so we get their attention. Then once we got their attention, we can captivate them with all kinds of brilliant light.
Okay,
Can I
so
say one
then
more thing
to
to Anita?
combine what you suggested, RV, and what Sherry suggested, do you recommend I ask something like, how many of you are ready to learn how we can save our constitutional freedoms?
Yes. Yes, that would work. I don't know that I would say learn. I would just say want. How many of you want to save our constitutional freedom? And maybe we don't even need to say constitution.
Exactly.
Again, we're trying to make it too complex. Go ahead, Sherry.
Anita, I just wanted to say, you're probably too smart for your own good. You're going to have to dumb it down for people like
For
me.
us. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like if you just said, you walk in and you say, who is ready to defend your freedom? Or,
How many of you are ready to defend your freedom?
yeah,
How many of you not only want to defend your freedom, you want to do it today? See, that's
Yeah.
very simple without us getting into the meat. You can save all of your meat and brilliance for the middle, for the content.
Okay. So how many of you are ready to defend your freedoms and start doing it today?
No, one question, raise your hand. Then how many of you not only are ready to defend your freedom? You say it again. You are ready to do it today, and you raise your right hand.
Okay.
Right? So how many of you are ready to defend your freedom? How many of you are not only ready to defend your freedom, you're ready to do it today? See, it builds, it gets people all excited. Ooh, I want that.
So just ask one question, pause, and then ask the second question.
Well, ask the first one again, and then tag it onto the last question. Okay, so listen to me. One question. How many of you want to defend your freedom? Boom. How many of you not only want to defend your freedom, you want to do it today?
Okay, that's great.
Okay. Now, I did not say the word but in there. But negates everything you've just said. So I said, and. How many of you want to defend your freedom? How many of you not only want to defend your freedom, and I didn't say either word, you want to do it today? That's power.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Okay, we want to hear you say it now.
How many of you are ready to defend your freedom? How many of you are not only ready to defend your freedom, but you want to do it today?
Yeah, we don't even need either. You want to do it today. Good job. Let's give her a big hand.
Thank you for your help, Arvee, Sherry, and all.
That's what it's all about. Yeah. And good feedback too from Malcolm and everybody. So good job. All right. So what we want to do now is take a little break and get a little fuel. So my question to you is, do you want 30 minutes or 45?
Are we going to take another little break between now and 5:30? Because it's about 5 hours apart. So if we've been talking for 2.5 hours. I'd rather my vote would be a 30-minute break now and then a 30-minute break around 3 o'clock.
Okay.
Or if you have something scheduled for us to break.
Well,
between now
normally
and
I do
5:30.
like 30 to 45 minutes at lunch and then like a 15-minute later on.
Yeah, 15.
Sounds good.
But what I usually find is an hour is too long. I've tried that.
Yeah.
30 minutes oftentimes is not enough if you have to make lunch. Now, what I do, and I recommend for you to do tomorrow, is like I have salad. So I prepared 2 salads yesterday, one for today and one for tomorrow. So it's not going to be a big deal for me. But if you have to make your lunch, you're going to need 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's
I vote for 30 minutes now and 15 minutes later because I'm eager to show up for this training every moment available.
All right. That's good. Okay. So who wants 30 minutes and 15 later? And then who wants 45 minutes now and 15 later? Okay. Sherry, what would you like?
Either one is okay with me.
Okay. All right. Well,
Whatever
sorry,
the-
Anita. And we'll just, we'll stick around as much as you can. But we'll take 45 minutes now and then 15 minutes later.
Perfect.
Okay. And Anita, get yourself something. And if you just need me, just call me. Okay. Now, I recommend we stay on. Don't close it out because then you'll lose the chat. So just turn off your video. I'll pause the recording. All right. Good job. Thank you for that. All right. We are back from lunch and we are going to continue. We just did our attention grabbers. Now we're going to add 2 more steps and we're going to get into storytelling. One of Malcolm's favorite pieces. So if we look at our book, we are on page 13. Page 13. And I hope Anita comes back pretty soon. I hope her internet lets her come in because I really hate to have to take your time to repeat it. But the second step in the formula and in our rapport building is the welcome. Now, when I say welcome, we're not going to say, welcome, everyone, but we want them to feel welcome. It's a feeling welcome. So right after we say our attention grabber, whether it's a scary statistic like Evelyn's going to use or something fun, we need to let them know that we see them participating or we hear their pain or see their pain. So if we were saying something like what Anita says, how many of you want more freedom? How many of you not only want more freedom, but you want to start today? And they're raising their hands. We must say something like, okay, great, right? Yeah, I hear you. I see you. If it's a statistic like what Evelyn is using, where it's scary, right? What is your statistic, Evelyn? About
97.3%.
right of people are looking way too long for their stuff, right? And your audience is probably going to be going, whoa, you acknowledge that by saying something like, yeah, that's right, yeah, that's true, yes, that's true statement, true statistic, or whatever. So you're acknowledging, yeah, that's right. So even with Malcolm's about the speakers, yeah, you can be a better speaker, yeah. Even if you're already speaking, you can be better. So we're acknowledging them. And then the second part of this welcome is to let them know how long you're going to be speaking. You see, most people do not have a clue how long the host is given the speaker to speak. It changes all the time. It could be 15 minutes. It could be 12 minutes. It could be 40 minutes. It could be 30 minutes. So no one but you and the host knows that. Well, don't you feel more comfortable when you know how long a speaker is going to speak? Especially if they do have a long time, like an hour, and you didn't know it, and you're like constantly, when is it going? Right? And you're not listening, you're distracted. So I'd recommend right up front, we tell them, for the next 30 minutes, I am going to share with you blank. And what the blank is guess what it is? Your title. For the next 30 minutes, I am going to share with you the number one way that you can become a professional speaker. For the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share with you 7 steps to save it should be your constitutional freedom. For the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share with you how you can clean up your clutter. And I really like that title, Evelyn, and I know it. It's probably a little bit struggle for you to take out all those fancy words, but it's really clean.
Yeah.
Right, Sherry, right, Malcolm? That's a clean
Yes, it's great.
title that gets right to the point, and it should be clean because that's what you're doing. All right. Or 30 minutes to share with you how you can speak up with your audiobook. I mean, then it's dangle. Now, remember also, people don't know your title. You're thinking, well, but I'm redundant. I tell my title. You know what? They read it before they decided to sign up, and maybe that was 2 weeks ago. Honey, they don't remember it. Believe me. Yes, Malcolm? Okay. So we remind them and dangle the carrot. Dangle, dangle, dangle. Okay, Anita's calling in. Let's see what she has. What's up, Anita?
My neighbor has a gun, and the building manager just called me a few minutes ago and asked me if I knew what was going on. I've heard them fighting the last couple days. His wife is downstairs. I live on the top floor of a building. His wife is downstairs she's talking to the police to get him out of the apartment. She doesn't feel safe. And they're my next door neighbors. So my building manager is recommending that I get out of here as fast as possible and stay away from the building until the police have gotten the gun away from him.
Well, what do you want to do?
I don't want to be killed. A lot of commotion. It's not relevant to this webinar, but there's been a lot of unsafe things done.
Oh.
And the fact that he's got a gun and the police are downstairs and his wife is talking to the police to get the gun away from him.
Well, where is he? Where is he? Is he in the
Right
apartment?
next door to me.
But he's still in the building.
Yes.
Can you get away without him seeing you?
I don't know. Right now they're knocking. Hold on just a second. I've heard them fighting a lot the last few days. He leaves and then he comes back. He leaves and he comes back. I'm afraid. My building manager just called and said I should call the police and ask them whether I should stay or leave.
Okay, why don't you do that? Because you need an escort. If you're going to leave, I think you need an escort.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go?
No, I don't know.
Can you
I don't know
go
what
to
to
a
do.
Starbucks or to a friend's house?
I don't know whether it's safer to lay low and lay on the floor here in my bathroom or what. I'm going to call the police. I want to let you know why I'm not on the call.
Okay, yeah, call the police and let them know ask what you should do. Because your building manager, if he's gonna escort you out, that's one thing, but I wouldn't run away by yourself all alone.
No, I'm not even
Wait a minute,
stepping out.
Sherry has an idea. What, Sherry?
No, I just think we need to get her off the phone, call the police and.
Get off the phone, call the police now. Call me back, let me know what happened. You're right, get off the phone, no more chit chat.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's scary.
That is scary.
Okay, you never know what's gonna happen. You just don't know. And I think she lives in Orange County, which is a very usually safe area. I mean, I don't, know that,
Well, we don't know what's safe anymore. Huh?
we don't know what's safe anymore. You're right. Okay. Let's continue, shall we? Okay, so I'll catch her up, when you're doing your stories and stuff, if she comes back, or she'll just come back another class. All right. So the next step is the welcome. And we're going to do the next two because they're really fast and easy. And the next one is the thank you. So step one is attention grabber. Step two is making your audience feel welcome by acknowledging them and then letting them know how long you're going to speak. Then the third one is thanking your audience for being there, for their time, for their energy. Again, we're in rapport. Very few speakers do this. They thank people when? When do they typically thank people?
At the beginning.
At the end.
Oh, at
It's
the
too
end.
late.
Oh, okay.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Right? We want to do it in the beginning. You could do it at the end too, but do it at the beginning. Acknowledge your audience. And then the second part of this one is to acknowledge the host for inviting you, which very rarely gets done. Now, when you do that, you want to make sure out of respect, you say their first and last name, and you do not thank the assistant right along with them. That is like a knife in the executive's heart. Do not. Maybe the assistant set it all up for you, but you do not publicly thank them. You can privately thank them if you want, but not publicly. Got it? So it would go something like this. Now, how many of you want more clients? How many of you not only want more clients, you want clients immediately? Great. For the next 30 minutes, I'm going to talk about speak up and get clients. But first, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate the time and energy that it took you to be here. And I also want to thank Evelyn Gray, the president, who invited me to come to speak. Let's give her a big round of applause. Right? That's simple, just seconds, a couple sentences. All right? So let's quickly, only like a minute, go ahead and write that down, and then we're going to go around the room. So think of what your word is, like my word's great, great. Yours might be fabulous, fantastic, fantabulous. And then we go into the thank you. Okay, so go ahead and write that down. We're on page 13, or you can type it in directly. Now, you're going to see we script the beginning and we script the end. Excuse me, the middle of your speech we outline. We do not write it out. It is your information. And if you write it out, you'll become a prisoner of your own words. And that's where you'll get deer in the headlights look. You'll forget. You'll be tied to your script. But we do it in the beginning to make sure we got all the points, and the end. And that's it. So just want to clarify, because we are doing a little writing right now. We do not write the content. Okay. Couple minutes. Let's do 1 minute and then we'll come back. What are you drinking, Malcolm? Looks good. You're muted.
Lunch.
That's your lunch?
Yeah.
What is it though?
It's a shake. It's basically it's a blueberry surprise. What it's called.
Blueberry surprise. I love it already.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and write that out, and then we're going to go around the room. As soon as you're done, just kind of let me know you're done. and we will start. Woo! Turn on my fan a little bit. Everybody done? We should be done. Just a couple sentences. No? I'm going to take that as a no. Okay, we should be done now. All we have is two little things. Anita just texted me. She's called the police. She's on the floor in her bathroom waiting to see what happens. All right, so we're going to go around the room. So you're going to do your attention grabber, your welcome, and your thank you. And that's it. Okay, attention grabber, welcome, thank you. Now, the purpose statement, even though I didn't mention this, I want to mention it now. It's only for you. So that's not part of our speech. It's only for you to know where you're going, that direction. Remember the UPS, the GPS, I mean, the destination. We know it now. We know where we're going with this. So we can plant seeds along the way, especially if you're going to sell something like Malcolm's going to do. We have to plant seeds along the way. Okay. All right. So let's start with Sherry. Attention grabber, welcome, and thank you.
Okay. This world needs your message, your words, your thoughts.
That's not your attention grabber, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we had something else. Okay.
Okay,
Got it.
see, hold
No
on,
worries.
Maybe I picked up the wrong thing.
No, that's fine. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay, anyway, for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share with you how you, oh no, I'm not. For the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share how you can give the world your message. Thank you for your time and for your rapt attention. And also thank you to Arvee Robinson. Thank you, Arvee, for giving us this opportunity to be together. Let's give her a big hand and a big thank you.
Perfect. All right. So we need a little transition word before the thank you. So you can say something like before I do, or first, or let me just take a moment, you know, whatever your words are. So a little transition hook between, you know, the welcome and the thank you. Okay. Whatever's comfortable for you. All right, let's go to Evelyn.
97.3% of the people spend up to 1 hour a day looking for stuff. I want to thank everyone for coming today because you're going to have a fabulous time. I'm going to share with you in the next 30 minutes about simple ways of how to clean up your clutter. I also want to acknowledge Arvee Robinson, speaker trainer, who graciously invited me today. So let's give her a round of applause.
Yay. Okay, so you said the thank you before the welcome.
Oh, that's
You
what I was
separated your
confused
two
about.
thank yous. Yeah. So
All right.
don't separate the thank yous, keep them together.
So what should I do? I'm going to share with you in the next 30 minutes first, and then I want to thank
Yes.
people. Okay, that's where I was a little
That's all.
confused.
You did it right, but you just
Okay.
out of order.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I'll
Yeah,
change
good.
right now.
All right, Malcolm.
You know, one thing I wanted to add to that, it almost sounded to me like you were thanking me for if I had a great time, but if I didn't have a great time, you weren't thanking me. That funny.
Did you get that? I didn't get that, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we have to be real careful with our words in the beginning in report. Everything counts. So good feedback. All right. Go ahead, Malcolm.
All right. So we're starting out with, I'm sorry. We're starting out with our attention grabber, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Nobody wants to hear me speak. That's what I used to think about myself.
Oh, I love it.
So for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share my public speaking secrets. But first, I want to thank you all for being here.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to sharing my secrets with you today. I'd also like to thank the fabulous Arvee Robinson for putting this together and inviting me.
To come and speak. Beautiful.
Yes.
Well done. Well done. Okay. So say the first part again. I love that opening. That's a great opening. That really is an attention grabber. A bunch of speakers and you're making a confession. Okay. So we just want a welcome word afterwards. Like it's true, right? It's true. So you say something like, say your statement again.
Okay, so nobody wants to hear me speak. That's what I used to think about myself.
Right? That's true. So that makes the connection. That's the connection. It's true.
Okay.
For the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share with you how you can be a professional speaker, or how this #1 secret to becoming a better speaker.
Right.
Good. Very good. I love that opening. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, Sherry agrees. That's a good one.
Yes.
All right. So now let's go to the next step. Now, the next step is just a little transition statement. So we're not really going to take any time on this because we're going to take our time on our story. So the next one is a transition statement. And whenever we have a transition statement, that usually means we plug in or paraphrase our title. So if we just got done saying, and thank you, Arvee Robinson for letting me come and speak. Let's give her a hand. Before we go into our story, we want to say something to the effect like, before I share with you the 7 steps to save your constitutional freedom, would it be okay if I just shared a little bit about myself? Or would it be okay if I shared my background or how I got here today or how I transitioned into the speaker that I am today? So you use your own words. Yes, Malcolm.
Question though, if you ask a question like that and there's a heckler that says no, then how are you going to, wouldn't it be better just to say, before I do this, I'm going to share this with you?
Well, you could, but remember you're in rapport. And so what we want to get, and we're always going for the yeses in our audience.
Mhm.
So if I got you to say yes, would it be okay for one thing? I'm asking permission to talk about myself in rapport. And then I'm saying, would it be okay? And I nod, and you're saying yes, either verbally or you're nodding. Now I've got one yes from you already. Do you think that maybe that one yes might lead to a yes when I make the sale?
Yes.
Yes. The chances of a heckler are really slim, especially in the beginning.
Mhm.
Hecklers mainly want attention on them. So they're going to want to take your speaker time or to raise their hand and talk during your presentation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that I say as lovingly as I can is thank you, because they'll sometimes, especially in Zoom, people will just talk. Have you seen that? Speakers talking and they just talk. And I just say, oh, I love all of you and your enthusiasm, but this is a presentation, not a conversation. And I just say that because it is. I'm not going to have a conversation with you. I've got a certain amount of time and I'm doing a presentation. So I'll just remind them because some people forget. But other than that, I have not really had too many hecklers, especially in this environment. So I think you're better off asking the permission and getting the yes. Did I start? Oh, good. I was like, did I start the recording? Because that was really good. All right. So does that help, Malcolm?
It does, yes.
Okay, good. So it's a quick transition statement, and then that leads us into our story and gets permission. So let's go around the room really quick and do that. And then we're going to go into our stories and our storytelling. And I'm going to give you a few minutes to kind of develop that story. So I'm not going to call you off the cuff. All right. So Evelyn, you go first this time.
Oh, the only one I can think of is before I share with you my top organizing secrets, is it okay for me to share with you a little bit about myself?
Well, before I share with you how you can clean up your clutter,
Oh, okay.
would it be
back in.
okay? Yeah.
Okay.
It's that easy. All right, Malcolm.
Before I share these secrets about, wait, no.
How to become a speaking
Yeah.
like a pro.
Um,
And you can paraphrase it. Doesn't have to be exact.
okay. Before I share these secrets about speaking like a pro. See, I don't like that.
No, I don't like it either. How about instead of the secrets, why don't you just say, before I share with you how to speak like a pro? So you don't have to use the word secrets in there.
Mm-hmm.
You're still dangling the carrot. Before I share with you how to speak like a pro, before I share with you how you can speak like a pro, right?
Uh-huh. Okay. Before I share with you how you can speak like a pro,
Good.
I'd like to tell you, sorry, there I go. Before I share with you how you can speak like a pro, is it all right if I shared a little bit about myself?
Yes. And you could follow your instincts in what you were going to say, where before I share with you how you can speak like a pro, I'm going to tell you about myself. Would that be okay with you? So you can add it at the end if that's your natural, again, there's a lot of flexibility in the system. It's just get that, I want you to speak, how you speak. But so if that's your instinct, just add, would that be okay with you? And now you've got the permission piece and you got the yes. Okay. Everybody get that?
Mhm.
All right, great. Super. All right. Let's go to, everybody went? Sherry, did we do you? No, I don't think so.
Oh.
Sherry. I'm going out of order now. So
That's okay. This is one of my problems. I'm always afraid of talking about myself too much. So it's hard to make an
well, then you
birthday
should
like
be,
this.
then
But-
you should be overjoyed to ask the permission piece.
Okay.
We're not talking about yourself yet, but you have so much background. We want to hear it. We really do.
That's the problem, really. Anyway, before I share how you can get your message out there, may I have permission to tell you a little bit about myself?
Yes. Yes. And the more you say that, Sherry, the more comfortable you will be. Right? Okay. Because when we do our professional story, that earns us the right to be talking about our topic. It builds instant credibility with our audience and sets us up as the expert. So we must tell something about ourselves because no one knows. I mean, you're experienced and how'd you get into the auto books? Everybody's like wondering, well, why should I hire you? Well, you're a professional. You've been in the film industry for many, many years. So, all right. Now we're going to go to the professional story. We are on page 14. Now, the professional story, again, earns you the right, builds you credibility, all those great things. But it doesn't mean we want to go way back into our childhood either. It's only the part that got you to do what you're doing today. And it's only the relevant part. Relevant has to be relevant. So when we tell stories, and again, everybody's doing business topics here, but sometimes, I work with people that are doing some pretty heavy topics. we still have to heal out there before we bring our story on stage. On stage is not the place to do the healing. You know, some people might come on stage and they start complaining, or they start, talking about what happened to them and they were abused and, whatever. We say it a lot differently when we've healed from it. We cannot change the lives of others if our life still needs changing. So we have to make sure we've healed from whatever it is we're sharing, and that we can heal others. When we show how confident and tough and professional we are, then that makes the audience cry, and that's who you want to cry, not you. So real important, real important. Okay, so why are stories so important? Because they open the hearts of the listeners, and when we open the hearts, open pocketbook. It's like a string, right? That opens their pocketbooks. They suspend time. They're non-threatening. They're invisible selling. I mean, there's so many reasons you all want to be a professional storyteller. This is the first of many stories that we need to have in our speech. So we're going to go, we are on page 14, and we are going to go to page 15, which is the story staircase formula. Now, when we tell a story, and I'm just going to give you some basics right now. If you think about a folktale, how do folktales begin?
Once upon a time.
Right. Once upon a time in a village far, far ago, right? Far, far away. Place and a time, time and a place. They're interchangeable. So when I start my story, I say, back in the 80s, I was in corporate America. Corporate America, I don't have to say downtown Los Angeles, because corporate America, the picture is different for different people. I don't have to say it was 1980, whatever, but just a general time. Why? Because it's significant in my story, because that's when microcomputers first came on the scene. It was revolutionary. It's not like today, where today we got, computers on our phone. Do you know back in the 80s, we did not have cell phones? We did not have Facebook. We did not have social media. We did not have Starbucks, right? It's significant. So that's why I have to say in the 80s, because if it was 20 years ago or just, even 20 years ago, things are different. So it makes a difference, time and a place. It gets people comfortable, gets them solid. It gets them ready to listen. They go, okay. The purpose of our story is to share information without raising too many questions or too much unknown, because we send people off in another direction with that. How old were they? Where were they? Was that New York or was that California? It makes a difference, right? Is that back east or was that, because California is all, I mean, some people have said that, the land of fruits and nuts, right? New York, they're the land of guns and, crime or whatever image it is, but it's different. It's day and night, black and white, right? Florida's for old people, right? Retired people. I don't know, whatever the image is that we're trying to portray, it makes a difference if you're in the Midwest or if you're in, wherever. So we have to let people know, because their mind's going to adjust. Otherwise, they're going to be asking you, where were they? Where were they? So it's just a point of reference. Now, when we create, if we're looking at page 15, right, our story state formula, we want to create, or we can, some sort of an attention grabber. Now, that attention grabber is not the same as our attention grabber for the speech, but something to grab their attention. So mine simply is, back in the 80s, I was in corporate America. Now, my place serves as an attention grabber, corporate America. Woo, corporate America, right? Back in the 80s, I was in corporate America. right? My degree is in information systems. Now what I'm doing, I'm building character. The next step, strong character. My degree is in information systems. Why do I say that? Everything you say has a point, because I want people to know that I have a degree, right? Because that's important to me and my story. You'll see why next. Might not be important to you or your story. Out of college, I was hired by an international CPA firm called Deloitte. Deloitte Haskins and Sales back then. How many people have heard of Deloitte? If you have heard of them, you know you need a 4.0 to get hired by them. Big deal. What does that say? Now, I didn't have a 4.0, but it's just something that, people know. Wow, you have to have. I just was left out because I didn't go in as a CPA. But most people know you have to be smart to even be hired by them. Now, I was able to get in through the systems line, right? Because of my systems degree. That's why it's significant. So I don't say all that, but I'm just telling you. So I went to work for a company by the name of Deloitte. Deloitte Haskins and Sales back then, one of the big 8 CPA firms. Anybody hear of them? People raise their hand. Great. But my job was not as a CPA. I was a systems consultant. And they hired me to set up financial accounting systems on microcomputers. That's when microcomputers first came out. My first computer I set up was dual floppy. Anybody remember dual floppies? Right? I'm establishing character and a time, right? And making some fun. I'm not trying to say how old I am. Believe me, I know it ages me. But the better of it was that I've established time. So I wanted to establish time and character, right? Now, develop character's desire. All right. Now, this is my one day. Okay. Okay. So my desire was, I was a trainer. I loved it. Right. Then one day, my boss came to me and said, Arvee, I want you to get out there and speak. Right? That's the one day. That changed everything. Your one day in your story is you're walking along and all of a sudden you took another lane or took another step or went a different direction, right? You're going along. I don't care what it is. One day you're in your career. One day you had a baby. Whoop, you become a mom. All of a sudden life changed, right, Sherry? Totally life changing. That's what we're looking for here, is what changed the direction, the course, right? So one day my boss came to me and said, Arvee, I want you to get out there and speak. I took one speech class in college. I was good to go. I knew everything there was to know about public speaking, or so I thought. Then one day this lady came, and I didn't get any clients, right? And I knew it's in my opposition, the villain, right? There's always a villain and a hero in every story, right? The villain was the public speaking, right? That was it. That was fine without doing that. But then that reared its head and I didn't know what I was doing. And I thought I could lose this job because I wasn't getting any results. And then one day I have a second one day. A woman came up to me. Now I thought I was getting good news. I thought I was getting better. No, right? She said, honey, I hate to tell you this, but you say okay after every sentence. That's the villain right there. Again, opposition. What do? I had a choice to run home and cry or to get trained. I decided to get trained. Right? She hit me right in the face with that opposition. You sucked at speaking, is what she said. You're terrible, is what she said. You don't know what you're doing, is what she said. So I decided that I was going to get trained, master it. Not only get trained, but master it. You know, people, when they say you'll never walk again, They're running marathons, right? Because they decided that they're not just going to walk again, they're going to run marathons. That's the same moment. And that's the kind of feeling you want to create. The boom, that's not going to happen. I'm going to do something else. And then the story resolution. The rest is history. I mastered it. And then I left my company 2 decades ago and been teaching people ever since. All because one woman said, you say okay. Everything you do can be traced back to one moment in time. One day. All right. So that's what I want you to create. So you can use this as an outline and just kind of jot some notes. Don't write out your story word for word. Again, you'll be more of a prisoner, and then you'll try to remember all of it, but just outline. Now, eventually you'll know your story, just like if you heard me say it just now, that's the same way I say it on stage, because I've said it so many times, I've become it. Right? But I'm free to add some things if I want, and free to take some things out if I don't have time. All right, so let's start. So go ahead. We're going to take now this time, we're going to take a little more time because you're going to write it out and you're going to think about it. Yes.
A question. So you have a bunch of examples of different stories, like you have the personal story, you have the client story, the testimonial story, even the professional story. So actually a couple of questions. One is, how do you know, or is it better to use a more recent story or the origin story? Like what you're doing is you're using the origin story, but is it better to do that or to use like a testimonial, like 1 year ago, I had this client who blah, blah, blah.
No, there's room for testimonials and they'll go in the meat. All right. You're going to use testimonials, emotional stories, stories with a lesson. They all go in the meat. Right now in report, it's your professional story, Malcolm, of how you decided to become a public speaking coach. So if we all had to ask a question, it's how did you decide to do what you're doing? So Evelyn is, how did I decide to become, or how did I become a declutter genius, right? So Sherry, how did you become a voiceover coach doing people's audible books, right? So Malcolm, how did you become a speaker trainer? That's the answer, the question people are asking. And why should I listen? What makes you an authority? What makes you an expert? So this particular story, and it's short, it's only 3 minutes long, just to establish your authority and that you earn the right to be talking about public speaking. So for yours, you started out perfectly where you kind of messed up. So tell that story. Continue that story. So what was your attention grabber again?
It was something about nobody wants to hear me speak. That's what I used to think about myself.
Perfect.
It's true. Arvee, it's true.
I believe you.
Okay.
And that's why it's so good. Because you're not, I know you're sincere. So now when you tell your story, you can come back to that and say, yes, I used to think, or take us to that day, that time and a place when you thought that. Maybe you stepped on stage, maybe you were sitting in your home, maybe someone told you that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not alone. I had a client whose husband said, who wants to listen to you? Who wants to listen to your speech? I'm going to tell you this in confidence. A week later, she was raped because of the pill, the elephant pill was slipped in her drink. She woke up in the morning, somebody else's room on the floor. He was in bed. She was on the floor. She got up, put her clothes on, and left the room. She was at a convention. She was a vendor at a convention. They tried, of course, to press charges, but the police didn't have enough evidence, maybe didn't have it. I mean, even though she had evidence. But the point being is then she shared the story and she developed a whole new speech, which was about how to prevent your sons and daughters from being raped with this, with the tranquilizer thing, whatever it's called, date rape, I don't know, whatever it's called. And her husband sat in the audience and cried. He never did say that to her again. So keep going. So just lead into it. Okay. All right. So we're going to take 10 minutes. Is that long enough or do you need 15? All right, let's take 15. I think 15. I do too. It's not a big long story. It's only 2 to 3 minutes, but it establishes. That's why we have to be very concise, very relevant. Now, when you come back, I'm going to do your stories and give you coaching on it. It's easier though for me to coach a story that's this big and cut it down than it is for me to try to pull something that you haven't set out of you. So for this exercise, it's okay to write a little bit more. Just know we will fine tune it together. How does that sound? Okay. So be free to just, write and explore and follow the guidelines best you can. Doesn't have to be just perfect. Nothing has to be perfect. All right. So let's take 15 minutes. I'm going to set the timer. And you can mute yourself. I'll mute, but I'll be here. Okay, so I just got some good news. And this is for all of you and for Sherry as well. Sherry, listen up. This is my coach for my Audible. Hi, Arvee. Hope all is well. Got some great news to share from Audible. They are now guaranteeing your audiobook to be live in 10 days as opposed to 30 or 60 days just a month ago. Can we get your final chapters captured this week so we can get it out to your listeners? Give me a call. That's great news.
Are you going through Audible?
Well, I'm going to all of them. If you just guarantee Audible, Audible will give you like 80% of whatever they get, but you're locked into just them. You can take a smaller amount and spread it to all the others. And that's what I'm selecting to do. So Audible's just one of them, but I'll take a less percentage of the sales because I want to reach more people. This is something you need to know about, Sherry. And what I'll do is I'll turn you on to the guy I use, and maybe, he's such a sweetheart. Maybe you can get some more information, or maybe you're just the voiceover and he does the other. See, he's doing the technical part. I'm the voice. So you can collaborate with him, be a voiceover for some of his clients that don't want to do it themselves, and then let him do all this stuff.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for you. That's really good.
I know, but I got to get in my closet because that's where I'm recording it, right? You have to record it in a closet or have an umbrella over you. Yeah. So, yeah, good news. Anyway, I thought you'd like that.
So after this, you're going into your closet.
She's not coming out. She's
Not,
going.
not until next weekend, probably. Yeah, not the next 2 days. I like to stay focused, one project at a time.
That's great.
Arvee?
Hey, Vaughn, listen, I'm on a call. I'm on a training. Can I call you right back? People are oops, sorry. Hold on. Hi, Anita.
No problem.
Okay, Anita, let's all take a break for a second. How are you?
I'm fine. He's been in the past hour has been more eventful in probably a decade in my life in this type of situation. I just finished talking with the Long Beach police after I received the call from the building manager. I called the police and I just the police basically what they suggested safest place was stay in my apartment, lay flat on the bathroom floor and put my head on the floor between the stool and the tub as the safest place if he were to shoot through the wall. Because where I'm sitting right here is, I mean, you're looking at me and to my left is the wall that separates their apartment from me. He's kind of a mysterious, I don't know, person of odd behavior is all I'm going to say. I can talk a little bit more openly now because they have arrested him. The
Good.
wife going elsewhere to be safe, but they have got him arrested. I called the building owner and the property management company, and with him being arrested, I'm safe for the moment, but I'm staying on top of this because the other people in this building, I'm hopefully a young person. I'm 69 months from being 70, and I'm the baby of the building because the average age here is around 85.
Oh, my goodness.
But I say that only to share with you, most everybody is on the tail end of their life and they're not worried about the safety of others. They're just worried about, am I safe? Because usually when they talk about themselves, they use the word I instead of we or they. They're talking about their own health. And
Yeah,
so
let me ask you this. The man with the gun, is he in his 80s? Is he an older guy?
yeah,
He is?
everybody here is in their 70s.
Oh, no. Man, poor thing. Well, I'm glad you're safe. I've been praying for you. And you came back
Thank you.
really fast. Good. All right. So let me catch you up real quick on what everybody is doing.
Okay.
Ready to jump in. Okay. So we are on page 15. And 15 is your professional story formula. page 15. All right. So we want to start your professional story, which earns you the right to be speaking about what you're speaking about. And you have a lot of credentials, a lot of history, of, being in the political activist, so to speak. So we want.
I've also held an elected position, and I've seen how two-faced politicians are to the public and behind closed doors in their private meetings.
Okay, we want to know about the position. We might not spread that other part yet.
Yeah, but
Right?
what I'm challenged to do is learn how to say it in a third person objective, factual, like a statistic or something like that, without any emotion attached. So I
Correct,
can
but
still
we
get the
don't-
point across.
We don't say it here when we're trying to earn the right. Save that later for the content. And I think it's because of your target market, they're all on the same side as you. So it's okay to share. We just don't attach it to us personally. Right
Okay.
now, we want to know you've held offices, you've been an activist for so many years, you know what you're talking about. Okay. So that earns you the right. We want you to build your character. Right. And then,
Okay.
and then one day what happened? There's probably something that triggered you to get to be active, to do something about it. Right. You didn't
Okay.
always feel this way, but something happened. And
I
so,
see that one day section on page 15.
correct. So one day you're walking along this way and whoop, you switched over, right, to another lane. Maybe something made you upset or mad, or you saw a wrong that needed to be right. Okay. So we're going to all write it out, and then I'm going to break you up into little groups, and you're going to share it for the first time, and then you're going to share it with me. Okay.
Okay, how many minutes is this professional story? Is that like 5 minutes of my
Nope.
20-minute speech?
Nope. 2 to 3 minutes is all.
Okay.
It's real short. If you're concise, you can establish credibility in just 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay,
Good question. I'll be here the whole time if you have any questions.
okay, thank you. And how much time did you say we have to work on this?
You have 15 minutes because you just came in right when we were starting the 15. So
Okay.
you have
Got it.
15 minutes, which should be plenty. Now, it's not going to be perfect. I'm going to help you to make it perfect afterwards. So just write as much as you can. Right now, I'm not worried about a 2 or 3 minutes because it's easy for me to cut down something, but it's harder for
Okay.
me to pull it out of you. So go ahead and make it bigger if you need to.
Okay, I'm going to type it so I can edit it instead of just
Yes,
writing
type
rewrite
it.
on paper.
Absolutely. Type it. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, let's wrap it up a little bit. Wrap it up about 3 more minutes.